on some stroke syndromes sa previous na lecture. Remember, may ICA, ACA, basilar, vertebral strokes. Okay, so here, we'll focus more on the clinical part of the vascular pathology, i.e. the stroke. Okay? And so here, our objectives for this lecture. Yeah, so pathophysiology, okay, tapos you have the signs and symptoms, clinical presentation, different stroke syndromes, diagnostic tests that we request to confirm and evaluate stroke, and then of course, primary treatment management for patients. Okay, so overview of stroke, it's actually one of the top leading cause of morbidity and mortality. Okay, so ang dami ng lumalabas no, with the aging population, with increasing risk, dumadaming risk factors, no, particularly mga stroke patients, they're getting younger and younger. Okay? So it's not just restricted anymore sa elderly. Dati ang thought of first stroke would be ang stroke ito yung before, nasa, di ba parang cardiac pathology nila. You expect stroke sa adults, mga 55 and above, no? Mga 60s, mga lolo-lola nyo na nagsustroke. But ngayon, we're getting patients na 20s to 30s having stroke. And that's, kasi mostly if you have younger population na stroke, no? Mga 20s to 30s, they have different pathophysiology. Sometimes yung iba may mga inborn cardiac pathology, may mga inborn problem in the vessels. But right ngayon, mga 30s, because of, I don't know, maybe because of mga food, lifestyle, vices. So they have the classic risk factor na, di ba dami na makikita na young patients with hypertension, diabetes, no? Meron na ba sa inyo nun? Wala pa naman sana. Ano bang age group nyo? 20s? Ha? 18 talaga. College. Intermed? Sige. Okay? So, yeah. So, we have to analyze stroke. First and foremost, especially in your level, when you're at the ER, very important that you have to distinguish whether this is a stroke or not. Okay? So, you have to be able to differentiate stroke from the other mimickers, other disease entities that would present like stroke. Okay? Yeah. So, these are the following, no? Yung mga stroke mimickers na i-check nyo sa ER. Kasi not all patients presenting with one-sided weakness, dizziness, headache will have stroke. No? So, bawa yan, migraine. There are special types of migraine, yung tinatawag na complicated migraine or mga hemiplegic migraine, which would have headache, tapos they will also have mga numbness or weakness on the same side, para silang paralyzed on one side. Some would have mga basilar aura or mga migraine with vertigo, nakakala nyo para sila nagsicerebellar stroke. But when you do the MRI, when you do the classic na investigation, more of migraine sila. Okay, what else? Seizure or Todd's paralysis. With, lalo na yung mga generalized seizures. Pag after ng seizure event, diba? Seizure is a hyperactive event sa brain. After kasi nagkakaroon ka ng exhaustion, no, of the brain, okay? Tapos nagkakaroon ka ng lactic acidosis. After na nagtatire out yung brain mo. So it can present with transient paralysis. And this is not stroke, no? Yung tinatawag na Todd's paralysis from seizure. Okay, so tumor, no? Anything that exerts an effect, no? Mass effect on the brain. So pwedeng tumor, neoplastic tumor, mga cancers, no? They present, kasi usually pag tumor in the brain, chronic yan eh. So they would present chronic headaches, no? Unlike stroke, di ba remember, since it's a vascular pathology, ang characteristic na hahanapin nyo in the history is something that is sudden in onset. Diba? Sabi ko sa inyo last week, if you get from the history na okay lang naman ako, biglaan na lang, or suddenly, ano ba gusto yung phrasing na? Sudden in onset. Ano na, basta biglaan. Okay? So yun, vascular ang pathology nun. Either nag-bleed, or either nagkaroon ka ng occlusion. But for tumor, which is a chronic process, pwede ka magkaroon ng sudden manifestation, especially if bleeding, tumoral bleeding, which is actually still a vascular phenomenon, no? Tumugo. Yeah. And then, demyelinating diseases like multiple sclerosis can present with stroke-like pathologies then. one-sided, okay? Yan, others, Bell's palsy, marami kayo makikita ganyan. Akala niya nagsustroke, pero Bell's palsy lang pala sila. Okay, so sa Adam's syncopal attack, vertigo, yeah. Okay, temporal arteritis, they present with blurring and vision loss. Okay, yan. Okay, so high rate of mortality and morbidity, no, disability. Okay, so maraming patients na ganyan. So risk factors, here are the classic risk factors for stroke. So cardiovascular risk factors pa din. So kung anong risk factors mo for MI, myocardial infarction, mga heart, same with stroke. Kasi essentially, ang, di ba, heart attack, stroke is brain attack, okay? So ano yan? Ano yung mga yan? Severe risk factors, hypertension, diabetes, dyslipidemia or hyperlipidemia, mga vices, cigarette smoking, alcohol, okay? And then here, yung atrial fibrillation. Alam niyo kung ano yung atrial fibrillation? Okay? So yan, hypertension. Remember last week we discussed the pathology with long-standing or chronic hypertension, di ba? You can have ano yung pathophysiology of chronic hypertension, which can eventually lead to lacunar infarcts, yung mga lacunes, di ba? Yung fibrinoid necrosis, remember? Yan. Okay? So yan yan. So for hypertension, you're at risk for both. Okay? At risk for both ischemic infarct and hemorrhagic infarct. Diba alam niyo, kapag sobrang elevated BP, same, diba? Same with fibrinoid necrosis. Fibrinoid necrosis can cause mga maliliit lacunes infarct, sometimes bigger infarcts din. And they can also develop, diba, yung mga small and arterial, microarterial aneurysms, yung mga Charcot-Bouchard. Namaya, I think hindi yun. Aneurysm, which can lead to rupture. Pag nag-rupture yun yung magkakaroon ng hemorrhagic strokes. Okay? Yeah. AF. So what's AF? Alam niyo AF? AF is, na-cardio na ba kayo? Cardio. So AF, how do you distinguish AF? AF is irregular rhythm. Diba? So how do you recognize this ECG? Diba? Yan, irregular. Tapos, wala kayong, ano yung characteristic na ano? Na wala siya. Wala siyang, anong wave yung wala? Yan, pag tinignan mo yan, wala diyang, marunong na kayo magbasa ng ECG. At least yung parts of the waves. Wala, di ba? P waves. Walang P waves ang atrial fibrillation. That's how you recognize them. Okay? So irregular, tas walang P waves. Okay? Yan. And actually, it's one of the highest na risk factor for developing stroke. 6 times elevated. So pag may patients ka na AF, you have to really follow them up. You have to score them, yung risk nila for stroke, and you have to give them stroke prevention and medications. Okay? Now, of course, diabetes, no? You can have advanced atherosclerosis. Same with smoking, steroid use, no? That's advanced atherosclerosis. Kasi diba, atherosclerosis ang one of the underlying pathology for stroke. Smoking, dyslipidemia, particularly for the lipid profile, we look at LDL, okay, low density lipoprotein, yan yung tinitingnan natin. Ang target would be 70, okay, and below. Okay, so others, you have yung chromosome 12 ba ito? 21 yan. Okay, so mechanisms of ischemic stroke. So, di ba, stroke, 2 types. You have ischemic, you have hemorrhagic. For ischemic stroke, meron kang cerebral embolism, or merong atherothrombosis. Atherothrombosis is in situ thrombosis. Ano ibig sabihin na in situ? Doon mismo sa area na yun, nagkaroon ka ng, di ba? Ano ang pathology of atherothrombosis ulit? Atherosclerosis, atherothrombosis. Nagkakaroon ka ng development of plaque rupture, and then at that area mismo, occlusion of the vessel. That's in situ. Ibig sabihin, doon mismo. Okay? When you say embolism, the blood clot traveled from somewhere else. Like embolus, no? The clot is called the embolus, coming from somewhere. Okay, so when you say embolism, not always, most of the time it's coming from the heart, no? Cardioembolic strokes. But yun yung mga AF, yun yung pathology for AF. Okay? So later, ano natin. Embolic coming from somewhere. Pwedeng from the heart, cardioembolic. Pwedeng artery to artery embolism if you have atherosclerotic vessels no? Sometimes coming from arch of the aorta, mga bigger vessels sa carotid, lalo na kung medyo loose yung plaque, kaya medyo delikado yun. We also have diagnostic test to check for kung malambot yung plaques. Okay? So pag ganon, it can dislodge from the main site, tapos mag-travel somewhere, and then mag-occlude upstream sa higher parts ng circle of Willis, ganyan, di ba? Or terminal branches of your arteries. Traveling embolus, yun, ganun din, no? Tapos, paradoxical embolism. So, paano when you say paradoxical? Usually, that's, you see that in mga cardiac defects, no? May mga butas yung heart. Okay, so you have shunting, di ba? From left to right, from right to left pala, sorry, right to left. And then, nagkakaroon ng clot formation. Kaya, very important in the workup for stroke would be to look at the heart as well. Okay? Di ba may PFO? Alam niyo yung PFO? Patent foramen ovale. Oo. So, isa yun. Okay? So, isa yun sa mga causes for stroke in the young. Okay? Okay. Embolism from tumors. Diba? Pwede yun. Mga tumor embolism, fat embolism. So, hindi yung matataba. Grabe kayo. Yung mga may, how do you get fat embolism? Alam niyo kung paano fat embolism? So it's usually marrow for mga fractures. Pag may mga fractures yung patients. Okay? Air embolism, pwede rin yan. Mga operations, trauma as well, pwede rin yan. Okay? Cryptogenic. Cryptogenic is, what do you mean? Ano yung cryptogenic? I don't know. Unknown. Okay? So, where is it coming from? Okay? Cryptogenic. So, atrial thrombosis and then lacunar strokes. Lacunar strokes from the maliliit. Okay, later discuss natin pa yan. And then, part of the spectrum would be TIA, transient ischemic attack. So when you see patients na nag-TIA, nagkaroon ng stroke syndrome, nagkaroon ng deficits, and then the reverse fully, huwag kayong mag-relax, no? Kasi there's a high risk pa for completion of the stroke. And actually, that's the time where you have to be very aggressive kasi you're given a window to prevent completion of the stroke. Kaya dapat very, very aggressive kayo, even with TIA. Okay, yan. So, cerebral embolism, actually, it's the most common. Okay? Most common cause of strokes, all types of strokes. Yan. So, diba, you have more mostly atherothrombotic and cerebral embolism. Okay, so knowing the pathology of atherothrombotic versus cerebral embolism, there are some clues on history wherein you can differentiate the two. Okay? Kasi when you have to differentiate, one, magkaiba sila ng pathology. Diba? Ikalawa, treatment will be different. Okay? So, pag atherothrombotic, knowing na, para mag-pathology ulit ng atherothrombotic, diba, in cytothrombosis, no? Paunti-unting nag-narrow yung vessels and then total occlusion. So, what does that mean? When you translate it clinically, what would you expect the patient to have? Dahan-dahan din ang presentation, no? Yan yung tinatawag na step ladder presentation. So you would get patients na okay naman sila, no? Umalis na okay, sa work, bigla parang nakaka-feel na ng konting masama na yung pakiramdam, medyo may hilo na, and then pag-uwi, parang ang bigat na ng kamay, no? Slow ang ano niya. Mabigat na yung kamay, pero nakakalakad pa. Nung bandang gabi, parang humingi na yung mukha, bulol na. And then, nung pagdating ng gabi na nakita na ng asawa, ganyan na usual kwento na. Tinitiis pa nila eh. Pagdating ng maisa na, umiwi na talaga, umiika na, or worse, mga hindi na nakakalakad. And then that's the time they will bring the patient to the hospital. So, very important now, when you take the history for patients, hindi, ano ba nangyari? Tapos when you report the history, kaya very important yung timeline, no? Hindi pa sabihin na sudden onset na slurring of speech, right-sided weakness, and dizziness. No, kwento mo yung evolution, no? So, mga 4 hours prior to admission, patient noted dizziness but still able to walk, no? Kasi you have to kwento mo chronologically. Okay, so that is typical for atherothrombotic stroke. So, when you say step ladder, yung paunti-unting deficits nila. Versus cardioembolic strokes. So remember about cardioembolic, no? Cardioembolic, nagbuha mo yan for pag AF, irregular yung pumping of the blood, no? Very, very, ano siya for stasis of the blood, no? Stasis ka doon, formation of clots, no? And remember, pag mga ganon, yung clots that they form are somewhat, pwedeng malalaki, pwedeng maliliit, or basta ano sila, medyo malambot. Okay? Medyo malambot compared sa mga plaques of atherothrombotic strokes. So, halimbawa, meron kang AF, tapos nag-dislodge, nagkaroon ka ng clot, pag-pump ng heart mo, nag-throw yung embolus, nag-ano siya. Kadalasan yan, the embolus or the clot is medyo malalaki. And then initially, they occlude the bigger trunk ng arteries. Okay, so more proximal. Ibig sabihin, pagbabarayan, bigger arteries muna. Okay, and then eventually, dahil na medyo malambot yung clot, what happens? With blood flow, medyo nag-disintegrate siya. No? Pwede mangyari, either pwede siya mag-stay doon na clot, or pwede siyang mag-disintegrate, medyo durog, and then mag-flow pa more distally. I-occlude niya yung more distal or the smaller arteries. Okay, again, translating clinically, how would that present? So you would have patients na, since first binabarahan niya would be bigger arteries, ano presentation nila? Matindi rin, no? At the onset, they will have severe deficits agad. Okay, so halimbawa, okay siya, tapos biglang paralyzed ang left side. Tulog, okay? Ganun siya. And then later on, biglang parang seemingly improving. Because yun yung nag-analyze yung clot. And then medyo, tas ang later on, may iwan na lang some weakness of the left, some slurring, or some facial symmetry. Okay, so yun ang difference with atherothrombotic. Pag cardioembolic, they're usually maximal in onset. Maximum deficit, tapos biglang nag-i-improve. Okay, so parang baliktad sila. Because of the pathophysiology. Gets nyo na? Super ad-lib ako dun ha. Okay? Yeah. Okay, and one more thing, dahil nga medyo malambot yung clot of the cardioembolic na strokes, they are prone to hemorrhagic conversion. Okay, so medyo careful kayo with management of BP and giving of mga antithrombotics. Okay, so yan yan. Another source, maliban sa heart, pwede rin mga infected. Okay, so yung mga IE, infective endocarditis, pwede ka magkaroon ng septic embolus. Okay, they can form aneurysms, no? Mga mycotic aneurysms. So, ang treatment naman nun, different. You have to give them antibiotic. Okay? So, giving of anticoagulants will not really help. It will only parang push lang into hemorrhage yung patient. Okay? Kasi nga, the primary problem is infection. You have to treat the infection. Okay, so here, take note. So in atrial fibrillation, the risk of stroke is higher in paroxysmal AF rather than in chronic AF. So what's paroxysmal AF? What do you say paroxysmal? Ano ibig sabihin ng paroxysmal? What do you mean when you say paroxysmal? Paroxysm. Parang on-off, no? Hindi siya tuloy-tuloy, okay? So why? Why is it higher? Kasi yung rhythm conversion. Okay, so sometimes AF sila, AF sila normal. It's actually the conversion of the rhythm, no? From AF to normal, normal to AF. Yun yung higher risk of throwing the blood clot. Kaya mataas ang stroke risk in paroxysmal. Okay, so yun yung mga AF. Okay, so how do you, meron two na scoring system when you look at AF. Okay, so this is CHA2DS2 score. Okay, so this is a score para ma-analyze nyo yung risk of the patient for having stroke. Okay, so yeah, so you just have to score. Okay, congestive heart failure, hypertension, age, stroke. Take note po yung mga score of 2. Okay, yeah. So anong ibig sabihin yan? So the higher the score, the higher the risk for stroke. Okay? And usually, with CHA2DS2 score of 2 or more, we already initiate them on anticoagulant for stroke prevention. Okay, so kita niyo yan, the higher the score, adjusted stroke rate per year would be higher. Okay? So there's another one to check for AF patients. Take note, this is NVAF. What's NV? Non-valvular AF. Okay? So marami kasing causes of AF. So, classically, ang ano ng AF, risk factor ng AF would be mga valvular heart disease. So yung may mga mitral stenosis from the rheumatic heart disease, yan. Yan yung classic na valvular AF. Okay? But for non-valvular AF, ang usual causes niyan would be pwedeng new onset infection, ischemic heart disease, no? Ano pa? Marami. Marami yan, okay? Electrolyte imbalance, mga ganyan. Okay? Kasi you have to distinguish between valvular versus non-valvular AF. Kasi treatment would also be different. Okay? Kasi may mga newer anticoagulants ngayon na hindi effective for valvular AF. Okay? Yeah. What else? So other types of embolism, we discussed that na, artery-to-artery embolism. So pwede yan from vertebral, carotid, or even more proximal, no? Sa mga great vessels. Arch of aorta, mga, ano ba yung vessels mo doon? Brachiocephalic, di ba? Common carotid. Yan. So paradoxical embolism, yan. PFO, mga septal defects. Okay? Kaya very important to also check. Okay, ito. We've discussed this last time, di ba? The atherosclerosis, no? Take note of the more common sites of atherosclerosis, which would be in the branching points of your cerebral arteries. Okay? So usually yan sa mga junction. Yan. So, merong intracranial atherosclerosis, meron din extracranial atherosclerosis and stroke. So, pag extracranial, you have yung mga common carotid, okay, or yung mga ICA, pero mga extracranial sa labas pa ng cranium. More common yan for mga Western, okay? Konti ako in my practice, which is short pa lang naman. Okay, so mas common ang intracranial na artery stenosis sa Asians. Okay? Yan. Kasi pag extracranial, usually, the treatment is surgical. Okay? So you have to end arterectomy, you have to cut, bypass, or you put a stent. Pag nandito. Pero pag intracranial, mas maliliit yung vessels. They did a study there of stenting, surgical, hindi masyado maganda yung outcome. No? So, mainstay of treatment for mga intracranial stenosis would be gamot pa din, medical. Yan, ito yung lacunar stroke, mga small penetrating branches na branch of arteries. So yung mga lenticulostriate arteries, common in mga hypertensive, right? Mga long-standing hypertensive. Yan yung may fibrillary necrosis. So take note of the size, okay? So 50 to 200 micrometers in diameter, okay? So dahil nga branching or penetrating arteries siya, yung maliliit. What are the usual sites for lacunar infarcts? Okay? Saan yan? In the basal ganglia, di ba? Remember, from the main artery, you have small penetrating arteries. So these are the lacunar arteries. Kasi, why do you have to know that? These are mga small vessel diseases. Okay? So may studies na kasi ngayon on small vessel diseases na stroke. There are some antiplatelets na better outcome kapag yun yung binigay mo for lacunar syndromes. And what are the lacunar syndromes? Okay? So yeah. So we have 4 main lacunar syndromes. Pure motor. This is clinical presentation ha. Pure motor, pure sensory, and these are the areas kung saan sila usually located. So, maliliit lang talaga sila. Sometimes they're difficult to see in CT scan unless maganda na yung slice ng CT scan. For older CT scans, hindi siya masyado makita because they're so small. But in MRI, kita naman na siya. Pero with the more advanced CT scan ngayon, yung mas marami ng slices, mas maninipis, kita na siya. Okay? So I have your clumsy hand dysarthria. No? Saan yan? Clumsy hand dysarthria. Yan, so, centrum sa may ovale, third capsule, or sa may pons. Maliliit lang talaga sila. Okay? Ipsilateral hemiataxia, more of sa pagtindin yan. Okay? And brainstem. Now, yung TIA, ito yung, how do you define TIA? Still part of stroke ha, kasi iba hindi sila na TIA lang yan, di yan stroke. Still stroke, okay? Still part of the continuity of stroke. Yan. So, may focal neurologic deficit ka, no? So you have transient spell of anything happening, blindness or weakness, numbness, learning, ganyan. Dizziness, aphasia, okay? And usually yan, mga 24 hours or less, they resolve, completely resolve clinically, nawawala yung symptoms, and when you do the MRI, wala. So parang yung bara, nawala. Okay? So swerte sila. Okay? So yan. So how do you determine the risk for completion stroke or subsequent stroke niya? You score with ABCD. Ay, by the way i-review nyo to yung mahilig kami magpa-score niya. CHA2DS2, okay? ABCD score. So we'll give you clinical cases in the exam. Diba, TIA ABCD score. So there's a 65-year-old male who came into the ER with due to a 2-hour history or due to a sudden onset, one-sided weakness. Yeah, one-sided weakness. Okay, at the ER, you saw the patient, he had a BP of 150, or sige, 120 na lang. 120/80. Tapos, the weakness, when you saw him, it already resolved. No? So, 2 hours yun. So, what's the score of the patient? What's the ABCD score? So, 65, 1 point. Blood pressure, 120. Okay naman. Unilateral weakness, 2 points. Tapos, more than 1 hour, no? 5 na. Ay, hindi ko pala nasabi. Non-diabetic. So, 5. What's the ABCD score? 5. Okay? Tapos, ayan, look at the score. 4 to 5, moderate risk, no? So within 3 months, actually within 1 week, may 5.9 siya. Okay? 5.9 percent risk of developing stroke. Another syndrome for TIA would be transient monocular blindness, or you call this yung amaurosis fugax. Okay, so ano yan? Ay, naalala niyo yung di ba? Yung what we discussed last time. Yung ophthalmic artery. Diba? Ito yun. Ophthalmic artery coming from the main. Saan siya nag-branch off na palit? Branching from? Yun pa ulit sa nalalaman ko eh. From the, di ba, main ICA. Diba? So yan, kaya kapag meron kang amaurosis fugax, yung transient, bigla nag-blindness, as mag-improve, blindness, mag-improve. Diba, you're scared of that kasi na you have malaki ICA infarct. Later we'll discuss yung mga big ICA infarct. Okay? So, yan. Okay, again, differentials for TIA. Okay, so TIA, when you say TIA, may deficits na wala. So, pwede yan, nag-back to normal sila. So, seizures, diba? Pwedeng seizures, yung mga blindness, yung pala na on and off seizure pala yun. Okay? Kaya naman yung mga spells of hemiplegia, diba? Pwedeng transient paralysis or the thoughts paralysis. Migraine, yan. Syncope, hyperglycemia, neoplasms, or vertigo. So, anything na nag-back to normal, yun yung mga differentials. Okay, again, we've discussed this na. Remember the concept of the infarct core, na the less than 10 ml ang blood flow, cerebral blood flow, and the surrounding penumbra. Okay, remember the infarct core, irreversible ischemia na yun, infarction, whereas the penumbra, still salvageable. Okay? Yan. Okay, just to highlight yung core and infarct. Core and penumbra. Okay. Okay, so yeah. So, actually, since sudden onset kasi ang stroke, diba? Sudden occlusion. Kaya very dramatic ang presentation. Biglang hindi na naglalakad. Okay na okay, biglang hindi na kaya. Okay? Biglang naging very dependent, totally dependent. But remember, diba, if usual risk factors would be hypertensive, diabetic, these are for the classic risk factors. And yung diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, this is actually putting the patient on more or less chronic ischemic state na rin siya. Okay? So pag nakakita kayo ng patients, elderly, kahit wala pa silang stroke in the past, tapos pina-MRI nyo lang sila because, okay, let's do an MRI just to check your headaches. You will see mga chronic white matter changes or mga ischemic white matter changes. Okay? And this is because of the chronic ischemia throughout the years. Elderly, may diabetes, and because of that, yung chronic, not enough to cause total occlusion of the vessels to cause stroke. So yung chronic ischemic state ng brain of the patient, it can develop mga, diba, ito ba, when you're under stress, anong ginagawa mo? Under chronic stress versus yung, diba, ikaw, chronic stress versus yung isang tao na masaya siya, wala siyang stress in life, and then you apply the same kind of stress. No, high stress for those same person. Who do you think will thrive? Halimbawa, sige, sino sa tingin nyo, yung buong buhay niya naghirap na siya. Tapos yung isa na, anak mayaman. Tapos walang stress in life, lahat sa kanya binibigay. Tapos itapon mo parehas sa med school. Sino na niya magta-thrive? Same level of hindi, parehas sila matalino. Parehas sila ng level of comprehension. Walang academic parehas. Sino na niya mas magta-thrive? Yung anak mayaman kasi, joke lang, kilala niya yung mga doktor, mga tita niya pala. Iba yun. Iba yun okay, kami kayo. Hindi, sige, sino sa tingin mas magta-thrive? Mas magta-thrive yung chronic stress. Kasi marunong na siya kahit sigawan siya, di ba? Kahit sleepless nights, kaya niya na yun. Yung anak mayaman na, mayaman. Anyway, yung hindi pa subjected to stress before in his life, hindi siya mag-thrive. Same with chronic ischemic state. Kaya when you see patients in chronic ischemic state, yung mga diabetic, so yun yung point lang nito, you have formation of collaterals. Okay? So may mga collateral circulation na yan. Kasi nga, barato na to, and yung brain mo, tendency of your brain would be create mga small collaterals para to perfuse that one. Diba? Parang mga lang yan sa daan. Okay? Parang sa daan, kung marami kang siksikan, kasi pag nag-block yung main road mo, meron ka pa ibang dadaanan. Pag traffic sa Commonwealth, diba, yung Commonwealth wala masyadong collateral, nakakainis, diba? So pag traffic. Unlike, punta ka sa Manila. Pag nag-traffic sa Espanya, ay dito mga ka sa Lacson, daan ka somewhere else. Ang dami yung malulusutan. Same with collaterals, okay? So kapag yung mga good collaterals ang brain, kahit mag-stroke ka, sometimes the deficits would be not so bad. Okay? So better ang outcome yung mga may good collaterals. Ang haba ng explanation, basta yun. Okay? And take note lang pala, nag-usap lang kami, for standardization, the auto-regulation would be 50 to 150. Okay? 50 to 150. Pag may sumagot ng 60 to 150, ibig sabihin absent. Okay? Hindi kasi baka malito kayo. Pero lang standard, 50 to 150. Pero more or less, it's diba? 60 to 150, 40 to 60 to 160, mga ganyan. Okay? Pero for standardization, 50 to 150. Okay, diba? Remember the concept of autoregulation, no? Where your brain keeps the blood flow constant at a certain rate, 50 to 150. Outside that range, nag-fail yung autoregulation, diba? So, papangit ang blood flow or very, very high ang blood flow. Okay? Ayan, na-discuss na natin to, alam niyo na yan, diba? With ischemia, infarction, ischemic cascade. Ayan na yan, okay? Next, imaging techniques for stroke. So you already have a patient with stroke. You're already suspecting that it's a stroke. Nag-call na kayo ng brain attack team. Narinig niyo ba yun from here? Hindi, no? Sa hospital, narinig niyo. Kasi nag-call yan, brain attack team. Okay? Kasi dapat very, very quick. Diba? Bakit nga kailangan very quick and urgent ang response sa stroke? Because of the penumbra, diba? Because there's something that you can salvage. Same with heart attack, di ba? Mga MI, okay? Sa ibang hospitals, merong code din yan nagko-call ng code over the hospital, dito, speakers ng hospitals, STEMI, code STEMI, or brain attack team, gano'n. Kasi, very, very important na mabigay niyo yung gamot or intervention. Mas maaga, mas maganda. Okay? Kasi mas mataas ang mas maganda ang outcome. Okay? So yan. So how do you, what's the diagnostics? So you're suspecting a stroke, what do you do? You check if there's a stroke, no? You visualize the brain. Okay, what can you order? What should you order? We'll either order CT scan or an MRI. Okay, CT scan, well, for stroke, lalo na pag early ang stroke, kasi pag early ang stroke, sometimes within the same day, or within 3 to 4 hours, 3 to 6 hours of the onset of the ictus. Alam niyo ictus? Time of onset of the stroke. Okay pa siya, ganyan. Tapos pagdating ng alas 5, 5 p.m., bigla lang siyang nahilo at nabulol. So what's the time of ictus? 5 p.m. Okay? Kasi very important yun Yun yung mark. Doon siya nag-clue. Okay? So yeah, that's very important. Kapag minsan, less than, usually 24 hours, sometimes it's difficult to see stroke, ischemic stroke in the CT scan. Kaya kung tutuusin, if you have the time, if patient has money, the best thing to visualize the stroke would be an MRI. And particularly, anong sequence yung titingnan nyo for acute stroke? It's the DWI, no? Diffusion weighted imaging. Yan, ito, ayan, nakita niyo yan? Kasi kitang-kita nyo. Kitang-kita nyo siya. It's very sensitive for acute strokes or hyperacute. Ibig sabihin, within 3 hours pa, kita mo na sila. Nakita niyo yung puti? No, that's the stroke. Okay? So yan, yung nasa right, that's in the right temporal lobe yan. Okay, anong vascular territory yan? Anterior temporal, still part of middle cerebral artery. Okay? Tapos tingnan niyo yung flare sa kanan. That's called the DWI flare mismatch. Oh, we also look at that. Now, that's a flare yung sa kanan, FLAR. That's another sequence in MRI. Tingnan nyo. Same cut, same person yan. And DWI already pick up the white area. So yung white area, that's the stroke na area. That's the infarct. But when you look at the flare, ano nakikita? Parang hindi ba masyado, no? Konti lang. Parang konting puti pa lang siya. Kita niyo ba? Yung correlation. Ay, yung pointer ba? Sure. Okay, ito na lang. Ito, di ba? Kita niyo, puting-puti dito. That's DWI. Pero pagdating dito, faint. Parang medyo faint pa. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Okay, so ibig sabihin, fairly recent pa lang, maaga pa yung stroke, hindi pa nag-reflect sa flare. Tapos, more likely, majority of this, hindi pa nag-reflect dito, hindi pa talaga siya nag-convert into infarct core. Ibig sabihin, you have a lot of, ang laki ng pinumpa mo. Okay? So, majority of the stroke that you're seeing sa DWI is salvageable. Okay? Actually, hindi ko na sasabihin, wag na, nalilito pa kayo. Okay, next. So, since it's a vascular pathology, diba, anything that you're suspecting na vascular, you request for an angiogram. So, pwedeng MR angiography or a CT angiography. Yan. Okay, so angiography, just look at the vessels. Anong importance yan? Anong gusto mo tingnan dyan? You want to see if anong vessel yung occluded. Okay? So, is it more of the terminal? When you say terminal, yung mga dulo na. Terminal vessels. Okay? So, this is MRA, this is CTA. Ganda ng CTA, no? Wala lang. Pag CT naman, pag angiography, ang ganda ng CTA. This is contrast, no? This is with contrast. So, you're looking at this. You're able to see this because of the flow of contrast. While in MRI, usually plain study would suffice. Kasi, ano yung nag-highlight dyan? It's actually the blood flow. The movement of the blood ang nag-highlight yan. Kaya, when you think about it, mas maganda actually si CT with contrast. Okay? Kasi, na-highlight niya talaga yung lumen of your vessels. Okay. So anyway, with MRA, sabi dyan. So you want to see the occlusion, mostly, diba? Pag-infarct, saan ba nag-occlude? Saan ang bara? Is it more in the distal? Ito yung mga distal to, diba? Distal or more proximal? Kasi diba, ito yung circle of Willis na to eh, hindi lang buo. Ito yung ICA, diba? Terminal part of the ICA, ito na yung MCA, right MCA, branches, M1, M2, M3, and then ito mga to, M4, branches of the MCA. Same here. Ito na yung, anong artery to? Ito yung mukha. Sige, sorry, orient tayo. Right side, baka madumi pala to. Right side, left side. This is the anterior, this is the posterior. Okay, so actually, pag tumitingin kayo ng ganyan, CT scan, MRI, imagine niyo na lang yung patient na nakahiga, nakaganyan sa inyo. Paa, nandito, ito ulo, nakahiga. So face up, ito yung batok. Tapos when you do the cuts, this is an eggshell cut. Okay? So pag eggshell cut, ganyan ang cuts. Mga coronal, pag ganyan. Okay, padala ng cut. Coronal. Sagittal, pag ganyan. Okay? So this is eggshell cut. Yan. So MCA, ACA, ito hindi na masyadong kita dito kasi medyo mataas na. But this is already your PCA. So malalaman mong PCA yan kasi naka-wrap around the, naka-wrap around the, midbrain pons. tapos papunta siya dito. Okay, that's your PCA, posterior cerebral artery. Ito naman mas maganda, mas 3D ang itsura, no? So, ano to? ICA, MCA, okay? ACA. Ito mga tributaries of the ACA. Ito. So, what do you notice here? Dito ba anong problem? Medyo atherosclerotic lang to, no? Yun din lang, no? Mahirap lang sa MRA. Sometimes may mga cut, pero hindi siya totoong occlusion at times. You have to look at it dynamic. So kasi this one picture lang yan. So when you look at it, dapat in sequence mo siya titingnan. Makita mo nag-flow, gumagano yung blood. Okay? So ito kasi parang may cut di ba? Nakita niyo? Parang occluded dito. But when you view it na dynamic, gumagalaw, makita niyo may naggagana naman yung blood. So mukhang hindi naman kasi ang ganda ng perfusion mo dito. So mukhang hindi naman yan cut. So here, ano napansin niyo sa arrows? May mga focal areas of, focal ibig sabihin may mga ganito na, focal, multifocal areas of stenosis. Okay? So usually yan, vasculitis yan, no? Focal areas of constricted vessels. Mga ganyan makita mo yan saan kaya? Sa mga lupus, vasculitis, no? Sometimes may mga ganyan sila, lupus. Okay, CT and MR perfusion. This is a relatively new for us, but not abroad. Okay, so there are a lot of studies na that utilize this perfusion. So when you say perfusion, you look at the blood perfusion, cerebral perfusion. So mas sensitive siya in terms of determining the mas gusto mo dito kasi makita is the differentiating the core, infarct core versus the penumbra. Dito kasi, sa baba, ito. Yan. So, ito yung stroke mo. Diba? So, bakit ba natin ito tinatoxic? No? Bakit mo gusto makita kung gaano pa kalaking infarct core mo or penumbra? Kasi, pag maliit yung infarct core, malaki pa yung penumbra mo, ibig sabihin, ang dami mo bang ililigtas. No? That means, mas aggressive ka dapat. But yung ganito, tapos napakalaki na ng infarct core mo, napakaliit na ng penumbra mo, more or less, the treatment, the intervention that you'll be giving to the patient, parang halos, hindi na masyadong nag-work, okay? Pero yun yung level of pagiging aggressive mo, depends on how big your penumbra is. So perfusion, you look at the perfusion. So remember, pag perfusion ng infarct core, sobrang baba or halos wala na, okay? Versus ang penumbra, ang ganda pa ng perfusion, no? Medyo decreased lang pala. Decreased pero still salvageable. Ganun siya, no? Perfusion looks at that. You look at the infarct core versus penumbra. Okay? So pag tinignan mo, binibreakdown niya yan. Ang infarct core mo, ito lang, liit lang, oh. And you look at the penumbra, everything else is salvageable. So yan ang isa sa mga techniques, mga diagnostic tests that you can do to check if the patient would be a good candidate for thrombectomy. Okay? So may dalawa kasi yan, later we'll discuss. Thrombolysis, lysing of the clot, tutunayan mo yung clot, or thrombectomy, you get the thrombus. Okay? Kunin mo siya para maganda yung flow. Okay? Same with MI, di ba? May mga ganun din. So pwedeng lysis din sila, yung gamot na binibigay, di ba? Or pwede rin silang nagkakaroon sila ng thrombectomy rin. Same, di ba? So when you tingnan mo, same naman sila ng treatment talaga. So other techniques that you can use, transcranial Doppler. Yan. So makita mo rin yan, good for checking for occlusion, stenosis, or mga vasospasm. Usually, pwede mo itong i-request sa maganda to for sa arachnoid hemorrhage para makita mo kung nagsispasm yung vessels. Pero kasi ngayon, hindi na masyadong ginagamit ito. Okay? Ano na lang siya, medyo nice to know. Ako hindi ko marapagpasin na ito masyado. Kasi we don't really use it anymore. Kasi you have the benefit already of a more sensitive and mas visual yung angiography. No? Kitang-kita mo yung blood flow. Dito kasi you rely on the waves. Okay, pas yun, mas maganda pa. And sometimes when you do angiography, it's already diagnostic and at the same time therapeutic. When you see the occlusion, you get the occlusion. If you have money. Mahal kasi siya. Okay? So these are the skills or the scoring system that we use. NIHSS, by the way, sabi pala ni Dr. Escabillas. Kilala niyo ba si Dr. Escabillas? Sabi ni Sir, hello, will give additional grades in total of shifting grade for students who can provide NAHSS certification until August 13. What do you think? Hinard ko lang. So if you want, you can do the test. Madali lang yun. Medyo mahirap lang maintindihan minsan kasi nga medyo slang sila. So hindi mo alam kung dysarthric sila or hindi. It's a scoring system kasi. So when you see patients sa ER, mag-NAHSS kayo din ha. Pagdating nyo ng clerk and internship, kayo magagawa niyan. Kayo mag-monitor niyan. So paano kayo it's a, wala kasi dito eh. You can search it naman. Ito pala siya. Yan, no? So, marami mahaba lang siya and you're assessing. May scoring system yan. The higher the score, the bigger the stroke, the more pangit the patient is. Okay? So, yun siya. So, it is a test, no? So, yearly yan. Certification test yan. Or you can put it in your CV. Okay? Nilalagay yan doon. It's a certification na pwede mo ilagay. Yan, kasi you have to monitor. Yan ang so when you look at the parang GCS score, what's the GCS of the patient? Lower, pangit. Higher, better. Same with NAHSS, no? Kasi when you see patients na medyo nasa 25 and above na up, you know it. You already know it. You're dealing with a large vessel occlusion. So pag ganon, alam mo na, okay, alert mo na ang cath lab. You might be doing a thrombectomy na agad for this patient. Okay, so if you want, I can send the link. Free lang yan, free. Okay, so you just have to review lang yung scoring system lang yan. Okay, madali lang yan eh. May mga halimbawa, sa level of consciousness, you'll ask the patient, hindi naman lang, if kissing patient, may score. Is the patient able to answer the 2 questions correctly? May score yan. Okay, tapos yung response, yan, month and age, how old are you, ganyan. So yun yung gagawin niya kasi. Sayang plus 2, tsaka mas maganda at least ngayon pa lang matututo na kayo. So mostly, neurologic examination with scoring. Okay. Another one is yung MRS. Okay, so modified Rankin scale, and this is for outcome ng patient. So looking at the dependence scale of the patient. So maganda to. We usually take this one, no, yung baseline MRS of the patient before pre-morbid, is yung bago magkasakit. MRS 0. Tapos 0 is wala, no symptoms at all. Okay, so mas mababa, mas maganda. 6 is yung dead. Okay, so and then after that, we also take the MRS after the stroke. Okay, we usually also take MRS a few months after the stroke. Kasi this is where you will see, maganda to kasi for research. No? Ito yung usual parameter for mga therapeutic or mga non-therapeutic, mga interventions. Okay, so that's how you will see. Yun yung outcome nila. Yun yung parameter for outcome. Okay, halimbawa, those patients given RTPA or thrombolysis versus not given. So, kino-compare mo yan through MRS. So, halimbawa, upon discharge, 60% of those patients given RTPA would have MRS 1 to 2. Yun yung magandang outcome, 1 to 2. Whereas, yung mga not given, around only 10 to 15% ang 1 to 2. Okay, so doon makikita mo yung siya, ang tawag dito, outcome. Primary outcome yan for mga studies. Okay, so maganda rin siyang titingnan mo. So halimbawa ngayon, anong MRS natin lahat? Hindi ka sure, baka meron dyan. So more or less MRS 0, diba? 6, okay ka girl. Merkel index also same, no? More for functional outcome. So higher, lower, higher na ang total dependence or dependent on living, the activities of daily living. Itong aspects medyo nice to know. Discuss ko ba? Hindi, basta ang tinitingnan lang nito is how big is the stroke. So may scoring system lang yan kung ano yung mga parts of the brain affected. So ang perfect score is 10. Kapag may affected dun sa areas na yan, mababawasan ka na mababawasan. The lower the score, the higher the size of the stroke. Okay? Tapos ito ginagamit kasi siya for thrombectomy. Stroke syndromes, ito rin yung discuss natin last time Depende sa anatomy and vascular supply. Okay? So pag carotid artery, ICA, so alam mo na yun, no? Ano ba ang tributaries of your ICA, di ba? From there, galing ang ACA and NCA. Tapos may ophthalmic artery ka pa. Pag pinarahan mo mismo ang ICA, you would expect ACA barado, NCA barado, ophthalmic barado, full. Halos buong hemisphere. Buong hemisphere, except the PCA part. Okay? So, pag bilateral, uy, may ganito na kaming patient before, Lola, bilateral internal carotid artery occlusion. Ayan o, parehas, left and right. Ito yung CT scan. Di ba nakita niyo sa MRI kanina? Ang dali-daling makita ng stroke. Puti. That's it. Tapos madadelineate na talaga. But in CT scan, more or less, ganyan yung makita niyo. Nakita niyo, yung medyo mas maitim. Yan. Tapos, may mga hyperacute, dito ba yun? Pero wala yata. May mga hyperacute signs of infarct kasi in CT. Kasi sometimes nga, di ba, pag medyo maaga, hyperacute, you wouldn't see the stroke pa. Hindi mo pa makikita ganyan yan. So usually, pag inano yan 3 hours before, wala ka makikita. But there are signs. No? So ano yung mga signs na yun? Ayan, that's called the dense MCA sign. No? So ibig sabihin yan, barado yan. Okay, occluded yan. So that's a dense MCA sign. Ano pang napapansin nyo dito? Versus ito. Kita nyo, di ba? Here, may mga sulcus pa. May mga gyra, may mga sulcal, may mga lines pa. Those are the sulcus, yung canals ng brain. But here, wala na. Parang very plump picture niya. Okay, so dito kita mo pa yung gray matter, white matter. So here, wala ka ng gray-white matter differentiation and you have sulcal effacement. Yan yung mga hyperacute signs of stroke in the CT scan. So, yan yung mga titignan nyo. Pag wala kayong overtly nakitang stroke or ganyan, kaitim, itim kasi itsura niya na, hypodensity ang stroke, itsura ng stroke in the CT scan. If you don't see overt hypodensity, you look for the hyperacute signs, namely, dense MCA sign, sulcal effacement, ano pa, yung gray-white matter differentiation, loss of gray-white matter differentiation, o kaya yung mga ribbon sign, putamen, makikita mo yun, insular putamen area. Okay? And that's also because of the edema. Okay? So yan, yung makikita nyo yan because of the edema. Okay? So MCA, na-discuss na rin natin yan. So MCA, more of the frontal, anterior temporal, anterior parietal area. Okay? So sa frontal, more of the lateral sides. So yung arms face mostly. Okay? Pero syempre, with MCA, makikita pa rin kayo ng mga patients with weakness of the leg. Meron pa rin talaga. Hindi naman siya cut off the straight na gano'n. Okay? Versus toxic. Okay. So, ang middle cerebral artery, nakita niyo dyan, no? Yan. So, coming from the MCA, that's the main trunk. M1, M2. Yan yung mga malalaking trunks or branches yan ng MCA. Pero going more distally, yun na, M2, M3, M4. M4 yun yung nasa cortex. Okay? So kapag may mga cortical signs, sa M4 yan. Pero pag M1, occlusion, ibig sabihin, umpisa pa lang, occluded ka na, more or less parang ka nag-ICA infarct, minus the ACA. So malaki rin, malaki yung mga yan. So important to check if it's an M1 or M2 na occlusion, ibig sabihin malalaki pang part of the MCA yun. Kasi here, you can do thrombectomy. Kasi abot pa siya ng catheter. Pag nasa distal parts na M3, M4, hindi na abot. Tsaka, pag ganang M3, M4, kadalasan, hindi na ganun ka-toxic yung presentation. Pag M1, ang itsura ng mga yan, comatose, paralyzed talaga sila. Then you need to intubate them. Because of this, it's a big stroke talaga. Ayun o, kita nyo, ang laki ng stroke, di ba? Okay? Tapos, halos wala. Ay, ito, cute po. Ang ganda, di ba? So ito, halos M1 na. Buo na yan. Buo. M1 hot. Okay? Tapos, pag MCA, di ba, sparing of this one. Di ba, hindi mo siya na-affected. Spared siya. Kasi this one is supplied by ACA, di ba? ACA yan. Okay? So pag ICA, paano ma-differentiate ang MCA and ICA infarct? Kasi parang halos parehas, di ba? Kasi nga, ang MCA, galing naman sa MCA. Ito, MCA lang, kasi na-spare yung gitna. Ayun, sa pinakagitna. Pag yung pinakagitna kasama, that's already ACA. So, ACA plus MCA, anong territory yun? That's ICA. Mas malaki. Doon pa, mas baba pa. Nagigets yun naman, no? Parang ano lang naman siya, pag binara mo to, ito yung mga epektuhan. Pag mas distal, ito lang, spared ito. No? Parang gano'n lang. lang siya. So that's how you localize. Yan. So ACA, gitna. Gitna lang siya. So mostly, paraplegia, incontinence. Why? Because nandiyan ang Center for Continence sa taas. Okay? Nandito sa taas. Non-fluent aphasia, frontal lobe syndromes. So yung mga behavioral changes, yan sila. PCA, so ano ba PCA? Di ba? Pag PCA, posterior temporal, and occipital, mostly occipital. Okay, meron din yan sa basal ganglia, sa thalamus. So yun ang presentation niya. Presentation niya, so hemisensory because of the thalamus, hemiparesis. So mali mas heavy ano siya, kasi nga occipital lobe, visual cortex, thalamic pain syndrome, yung Dejerine-Roussy yung tawag doon. Dejerine-Roussy syndrome, na it's a post-stroke syndrome after it's a complication of stroke. Lalo na sa mga may thalamic strokes, ang nangyayari sa kanila, after the stroke, meron silang pains. Unexplained. Pero meron silang pains na on one side. If you have left thalamic infarct, sa right side of the body, they would experience mga tingling pains, burning sensation, cold sensation. No? Usually, yun yung tinatawag na thalamic pain syndrome. And sometimes, hindi siya medyo not tolerated by patients. And you have to treat symptomatically. So, medalla sa baba. Okay, amygdala, vertebral arteries in the back. Okay, so what does it supply? So mostly the caudal brainstem. Caudal, when you say caudal, pababa. Medullary, sa ilalim ng cerebellum. Okay? Yan. So here, lateral medullary syndrome or Wallenberg syndrome. Lateral medullary. So yan yung mga symptoms niya. So this is actually, ano to eh, if you know the anatomy, you would know the manifestation of the patient. Kasi nasa lateral medullary part, nandyan ang vestibular nuclei. So, magkakaroon ka ng imbalance. Ano ba? Spinothalamic. So, meron kang numbness. Okay? Descending sympathetic tract, your patients would present with Horner syndrome. Okay? Ano pa yan? Ang dami. Okay? Mga, tawag dito. Imbalance. Okay? So, dorsal column. Dorsal column na ataxia. Okay? Sensory ataxia. Pag medial medullary syndrome sa gitna, Dejerine syndrome. So ano yung nandyan? Same, no? Meron ka din nandyan. Andyan kasi sa gitna ang anterior, middle anterior part. That's your, ang tawag dito? Kalimutan ko na ito eh. Sobrang basic. Corticospinal tract. Okay? So nandyan ang corticospinal tract. So you'd also have weakness. Basilar artery, this is a nice artery. This is, ano masabi? This is a nice artery. I really like it. Natak na kayo eh. Okay. So here, maganda kasi itong basilar, remember we discussed before. So fusion of your vertebral artery, nagkaka-basilar artery ka. Tapos marami along the way of the basilar artery, meron kang AICA, meron kang AICA, meron kang mga paramedian pontine branches, and then eventually sa pinakataas, meron pa pala SCA muna, and then pinakataas would be your, ano to? Sorry naman, para lang kung makikinig kayo. Oh my gosh, very good. Okay, so PCA, posterior cerebral artery. Meron kasi tinatawag na migrating embolus syndrome. Yung nakita niyo kanina, yung traveling embolus. Sometimes, cardioembolic. Pag cardioembolic, okay, basta somewhere else, coming from somewhere else, embolic stroke. So, start sila from here. Pag dito sila dumaan sa likod, start sila from here. And what do you notice about the diameter of your vertebral artery versus your basilar? Mas mataba yung basilar, diba? Wider diameter ng basilar compared here. So if there is, so meron kasi tawag na migrating embolus syndrome. So ang presentation niyan, okay sila, tas bilang may weakness on one side, maya-maya, ito naman, iba naman, mawala yung isa, okay, mag-sustain isa. Parang step ladder, tapos parang pa-iba-iba. Ano to, pa-iba-iba, hanggang sa at the end of the day, comatose na sila. Okay? May mga ganon. That's called migrating embolus syndrome. Tapos, at the top of the basilar syndrome. And what happens there? Meron kang artery, meron kang clot na nag-occlude dito. Okay? Tapos, dahil mas maliit yan, di-travel siya, sa blood flow, magalaw siya. Pag medyo lumabas siya dito, hindi siya fully nag-occlude dito, Paglabas niya dito, ang luwag. Ang liit niya lang di ba? Compared dito. So medyo mas maluwag, nagka-travel siya dyan. Along the way, nababarahan niya to, babara siya sa ICA. So meron siyang dizziness, sometimes meron siyang hearing loss, and then medyo madidislodge. Kasi nga maliit lang siya madidislodge siya, and then babara siya dito. Tapos biglang magkakaroon siya ng, right? Magkakaroon siya ng left numbness, left weakness. Maya-maya, may left numbness. Maya-maya, dito sa right superior cerebellar, magkakaroon ka ng ataxia on the right. Tapos hanggang sa, meron ka ng hemianopsia, PCA. Tapos biglang tulog. Top of the basilar syndrome. So that's what you call yung migrating embolus syndrome. Kasi minsan magugulat ka, ba't ang dami nangyayari sa patient? Tapos biglang, oh my God, tulog na siya. Comatose na siya. At pag nag-top of the basilar syndrome sila, high mortality. So when you recognize patients having that kind, yung migrating embolus syndrome, alam mo na may nagtatravel doon na embolus, evolving yung stroke, pwede ka mag-high dose, you can do aggressive, aggressive therapy, pwede ka mag-thrombectomy. Okay? You can do thrombectomy. In some studies of label use of anticoagulation, pwede. Okay? Yan. So, pag basilar artery occlusion, lalo na if pontin, alam niyo yung locked-in syndrome? Yung hindi siya makagalaw, tapos mata na lang gumagalaw. Alam niyo yun? May movie daw yun hindi ko pa rin napapanood. Pero there's a movie nun. So parang very devastating to. You are awake. Kasi ang natamaan lang would be the motor pathway, the corticospinal tract. Tapos, pero yung consciousness mo, gising. So, hindi ka makagalaw. Neck down. Actually, pag face down pala lahat, ganyan ka lang. Hindi ka makapagsalita, difficult to breathe. So, akala nila, tulog ka, akala nila comatose ka, saka close yung eyes mo. Pero, ang naiwan na movement sa'yo would be vertical gaze. Ganyan lang sila. So, they cannot look left, look right. So, they cannot look left, look right. Pero, mapapansin nyo, kasi may times na akala nila comatose yung patient. GCS3 yung patient. No eye opening, no verbal output, tas no movement of the extremities. Pangit ito, ganyan. Tapos nag-uusap sila. Mamatay na itong patient na ito. Huwag kayong gagana na. If you're gonna talk about the patient, kahit comatose yung patient, lumabas kayo ng room. Okay? Kasi yung spirit, okay lang. Pero naniniwala ako doon. Ay, totoo yun. Huwag kayong gana. Hindi, tsaka malay mo, locked in pala sila. Diba? Tsaka baka malay mo, there is some consciousness retained in the patients. Kahit mga akala mo tulog sila, diba? So, may respect nila to your patient. Okay? Kasi may mga ganun. Kasi eventually, after the locked-in syndrome, they recover. Tapos susugurin ka nila, hoy doktora, ano pinagsasabi mo mamamatay na ako? Naalala kita. Okay? May mga ganon, naaalala nila. Okay? Pero few, panti lang yun. Ano yan, more of exception to the rule. Okay? So yun yung locked-in syndrome. Movement lang affected. Plus the horizontal gaze. So hindi sila makatingin left-right. Pero ang kaya lang nila up-down, up-down. May nangyari ng ganun before, akala namin GCS3. Tapos pag check ko yung pupils, maganon-ganon yung mata. Yung una parang, okay. Ganun, di mo siya pinapansin. Yung second day, parang, fishy. Sige nga, ma'am. Sabi ko, ma'am, naririnig mo ba ako? Siguro na mata. Sige nga ma'am, pag naririnig mo ako, tingin ka sa baba. Tingin sa baba. Okay, pag yes ma'am, tingin ka sa baba. Pag no, huwag kang gagalaw, huwag mo titignan. So, ma'am, ang pangalan niyo ba ay ganun? Ganun siya. Tapos may tinanong ko, so syempre dapat meron kang meron kang pang-check. Kasi baka naman lang tumitingin lang talaga siya tumitingin sa baba. Pero may pang-check ka dapat, na alam mo dapat yung sagot. And then eventually, you confirm na locked in na siya. Eventually, mas nag-improve siya, mas nakagalaw siya. So, mga magagandang story. Hanapin yung movie na yun. Yung locked in Butterfly. Search niyo nga. Pwede okay lang, hindi mo search niyo. Sabihin sa akin yung title. Parang Butterfly, yata, gano'n. So parang yun yung ano niya. Ang point of view ay yung patient na locked in. Tama ba? Butterfly?
The Diving Bell and the Butterfly.
Ay, joke. Tama. Ano? Title?
The Diving Bell and the Butterfly.
So, tama yung butterfly. Pasado pa rin sa multiple choice. Okay? Okay. Panoorin niyo yun. It's an interesting phenomenon. Lacunar syndromes. Lacunar, ano nga ang size ng lacunes? 52? Ha? Hindi, autolocation yun. Micrometers, ilan? 52? ilan? 200? Tama? Maliliit lang talaga sila, the pulmonary infarcts. No? And this is secondary to mga fibrinoid necrosis nga, diba? Paulit-ulit lang eh. Okay? So, merong pure motor hemiplegia, o medyo na-discuss na natin to, you just take note of the arteries and the location. Okay? And the presentation. So, pag pure motor, may weakness lang sila. Okay? Pure sensory, may numbness. Okay, so again, take note of the location of the infarct. Maliliit lang yan. So gising na gising sila, tapos biglang may numbness lang on one side. That's it. So maliliit lang. Pag tinawa mo yung MRI, ito, dito, di ba? Alam mo, pag tinawa mo yung CT scan, ano masasabi mo? Ang pangit, di ba? I mean, hindi siya ganun ka-obvious unlike MRI. Unless you're trained to see, this is the lacunar infarct. There. Ito, kitang-kita to. Yan, no? So ito, hypodensity. Yan. Minsan, madali siyang ma-miss eh, di ba? Madali siyang ma-miss. For untrained eyes. Ayan, this is MRI. Kita niyo yung puti, pointed by the arrow. Clumsy hand is arteria. Clumsy hand, sabi mo clumsy hand, ataxic. Alam mo yung ataxic, di ba? So pag attack siya, more or less, nasa pons, cerebellum, tapos you have the ipsilateral hemiparesis ataxia syndrome. So ito more of mga treatment. Okay, so what are the goals of treatment? So one, acute treatment, what you can give acutely, one, to prevent further progression of the stroke, prevent complications, and reduce mortality and morbidity. Okay? So later on, more of yung functional treatment would be to maximize the recovery. And ano yung pasok dyan? Rehabilitation, and then later on is to prevent, kasi nga diba, once you have a stroke, mas mataas ang chance at that's what you tell your patients para matakot sila. Kasi sometimes, yung iba, ay okay na, tapos na yung stroke, ay okay na, naka-recover na ako, they will stop taking their medications kasi nahassle sila, kasi mahal, or just wala, tamad lang talaga sila. So you have to tell them, once na-stroke ka na, there's a very, very high chance that you will have stroke again in the future. Okay, kaya very important yung number 3, prevention of future strokes. Okay? Sa mga secondary stroke prevention. Okay, so acute phase management. Very important. Remember yung ictus? Ano nga yung ictus? The time of onset of the stroke. No? So, biglaan na lang, biglang nag-stroke. So, take note of that time. Meron mga iba, okay pa yung mga tinatawag ng wake-up stroke. Natulog kagabi around 9 p.m., okay pa siya, walang complaints. And then woke up at 6 a.m. already having slurring of speech. So, what's the time of ictus? It's hard to tell kasi nga it might have happened when he woke up, while he was sleeping, no? Nung natulog siya agad-agad. So what do we use there would be yung last known well or last seen well. Okay? So last known well would be kagabi ng 9 p.m. Okay? So yun yung computation nyo. Why? Bakit important na i-compute nyo how many hours from ictus nyo nakita yung patient? Kasi may window, diba? When you can give your thrombolytic agents or your endovascular procedure. Okay, so yung first, yung intravenous thrombolytic agent or yung thrombolysis. Etong dalawang to, these are two proven intervention that can reverse the stroke. Can, potentially, reverse. Or tanggalin yung mismong obstruction, diba? There's a clot there, tutunawin mo yung clot or kukunin mo yung clot. And those are the two things lang. And they are time-bound. Okay? Kaya very important na you have to set the time when it happened. Tsaka mabilis ka. Kasi time is brain. Ano yun? Quote na yun. Time is brain. Okay? Time lost is brain lost. So the earlier that you can reperfuse, ibig sabihin you remove the clot and you perfuse the brain. The earlier the reperfusion, the better. No? Mas marami kang neurons that you can save. The higher the chance of good outcome. Okay, so we have already two agents. No? Dati we're using alteplase. Now, meron ng bago si tenecteplase. So si alteplase and tenecteplase, these are recombinant tissue plasminogen activators or RTPA. Okay, so ano sila? You can give them intravenously. And itong dalawang to kasi, you have to give them within 3 or 4.5 hours of stroke. So pag may pumunta sa inyo, 6 hours na, hindi mo naman siya mabibigay. Okay? Kasi ito, when you give this one kasi, higher chance na talagang may mga patients kami na ang ganda ng outcome. As in, halimbawa, NIHSS 20. 20 sila. So, pag sabi mo 20, medyo mataas yun. Malaking stroke, tapos medyo malaking deficits, more or less, mga paralyzed yan, medyo tutulog-tulog. May mga patients kami na NIHSS 20, and then after giving RTPA, well, when we discharge the patient, ilan na lang NIHSS nila? 2, 3, no? Konting numbness lang, konting slurred lang, but they're able to go back to their usual lives. Diba? Kasi stroke is a very disabling disease. Okay? Talagang, wala. Kawawa, lalo na yung mga breadwinners of the family, young patients. Pero mo, young ka, you have your whole life, drama. Pero totoo ha, halimbawa, may isa, bigla siyang na-stroke, paralyzed siya, wheelchair bound na siya, tapos hindi siya nakasalita, tapos ganyan na lang siya, tapos naglalaway. Paano na? 30 years old. Diba? Or 50 years old, male, dito, breadwinner, may mga anak. Paano na? Tama? So that's why we give, medyo mahal lang sila. No? Hopefully in the future, mag-cover sila lang. Pero when you go to public hospitals, these are free. Pero syempre dito hindi. Okay? Yeah. So, we give them 3 to 4.5 hours. Initially, ang window period is 3 hours from ictus. So, kung 3 p.m. ang ictus, hanggang 6 p.m. on the dot mo lang siya pwede ibigay. Kasi, pag you go beyond 3 hours, at some you can extend to 4.5 hours. Pero there are contraindications to extended window period. Okay? So, take note nyo lang yan. Kapag binigay niyo sila beyond the golden period or the window period, higher risk of hemorrhagic conversion or bleeding. Medyo devastating din ang bleeding kasi pag malaki yung bleeding, pwede ma-operahan yung patients. Or high mortality din siya, of course. Ayan. So that's how we give it. Altiplase, no? It's weight-based. Kaya, mahirap maging mataba. Hindi ba yung mga stroke patients na mga dyslipidemic, diabetic, medyo malalaki, kasi mas mahal. Alam niyo ba magkano ang Altiplase 1 vial? 0.9 mg per kilogram yan. So if you're 60 kilograms, siguro mga or more, siguro 2 vials ka dyan. Alam niyo kung magkano isang vial of Altiplase? Dati mahal yan, binabaan na nila ngayon. Dati nasa 60 to 70K per vial. That's just the medicine alone, ha? So medyo malaki-laki ka mo, bigat, lalaki, so mabigat kasi laki, diba? Magkano maabutin mo? And that's just the medicine alone. ICU ka pa after. Paano pag nag-complicate, operahan ka pa? Yung hospital stay mo, yung rehab mo, ang mahal. Mahal magka-stroke, diba? Itong Tenecteplase, ang better sa Tenecteplase is you give it diretso ang IV. So may mga nurse ba dito? Kasi ang Altiplase, you infuse it pa eh. Hahalo mo pa siya, dilute mo pa siya, and then you give it infusion. Okay? The first, 10%, you give us bolus, then the remaining 90%, you give it, you infuse it. So iintay mo ba yun? Pag Tenecteplase, diretso, bolus, you give it bolus. And lower ang kanyang dose requirement, 0.25 to 0.4 milligram per kilogram. So pag medyo mas malalaki, mas mag-benefit sila sa Tenecteplase na lang, kasi isa lang. Pero ano sabi ko na ba, magkano yung Altiplase? Ngayon, nasa 40K na lang siya. Yung Tenecteplase, kasi bago-bago, mas mahal. 100 plus ang isang vial. Parang tuition, di ba? Mas mahal yung tuition niya. Tama? Mas mahal yung tuition niya. Magkano na ngayon? 170? 170 for the year? Oh my God! Mag-aral kayo maigi ko ng mga gulang niyo. Kasi yung time namin parang ang ano pa ng FEU na nasa 80. Yeah, 80-90 lang. At least 100 lang. Yeah, pero meron akong classmate. Kwento ko na naman to. Hindi ko na, may narinig mo na kwento to. May classmate ako kasi yung dad niya ay professor sa school. So, ang binabayaran niya lang per sem ay, wala no. Ako na nagpaaral sa kanya. 60 pesos. Gigil ako sa kanya eh. 60 pesos ang kanyang tuition. Sabi kami nag-enroll, tapos nakita ko yung yung form 5 niya. Ako na magbabayad. 60 pesos. Para masabi ko pinaaral ko ng med school, di ba? 60 pesos per sem, nakakaloka. Sabi ko, gusto ko rin magturo. Para yung anak ko ay din. 60 pesos. Okay. Hindi na totoo yan. Okay, so anyway, intravenous thrombolytic agents, you have contraindications. contraindications. Generally naman, wala masyado. Pero take note of the contraindications. Okay, for patients. So majority niyan would be bleeding talaga. If you have aneurysms, no, may mga recent hemorrhage, major surgeries, malignancy that may predispose to bleeding, no, high risk of bleeding kasi talaga yan eh. So when you tell your patients, ang ano nito would be, there is a 6% chance of bleeding anywhere in the body. No? Mga significant hemorrhage, symptomatic intracranial hemorrhage sa ulo, or other areas. Pwedeng GI, sa ihi, ano pa, mga hematoma sa skin, mga bruises. Okay? So inclusion criteria, 3 hours, less than. The earlier the better. Hindi nakakita kayo ng patient, halimbawa, nasa hospital, in hospital, mas mabilis kasi yun eh. In hospital, nag-rounds kayo, kausap niyo yung pasyente. Ma'am, good morning po. Ako po si Dr. Ganyan-ganyan. Kamusta po kayo ngayon? Okay. Biglang gumanon. Okay naman po. Biglang gumanon. So, ang ictus, yun ang mismo. Okay? So, pag gano'n, hindi ibig sabihin na ang ictus niya ay 418, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, magbibigay ka pa ng, okay lang yan, may hanggang 718 pa tayo pwede magbigay. Hindi, kasi nga, the earlier, the better you should ibigay. Okay? So, hindi porke may 2 hours pa kayo, hintayin niyo yung 2 hours. Okay? Basta earlier, the better. Now, this one, matagal naman na siya, pero relatively, basta, gano'n. Hindi pa kasi siya sobrang, una kasi mahal. Medyo mahal talaga to. Siguro mga 500 to 600K just for the procedure alone. Okay? So, ito yung thrombectomy. You get the clot through, intra-arterial. Okay? So, pwedeng groin puncture here, diba? Arterial, endovascular. Alam niyo endovascular, diba? Through the artery. So, it's less, minimally invasive siya. Okay? You have a catheter na aakyat, papunta dito, and then just get it. Meron mga suction catheter, ihigupin yung, or may mga balloon catheter, okay? So, basta ang goal is to get the clot. And, yung patency of the artery, i-re-establish. So, this is, because there's a catheter, you'll be using a catheter, ang kaya nilang abutin hanggang ICA M1, sometimes up to proximal 8, M2, yun lang. Beyond that one, ACA hindi masyado. Beyond kasi maliit yung ACA, baka ma-puncture yung delikado pa. Beyond that, hindi na siya maabot. Posterior, ito naman, unlike yung thrombolysis, di ba? What's your timeline for the cut-off? Where you can give 3 hours, diba? So 3 hours, sometimes 4.5, 3 hours. 3 hours, hindi mo na pwede ibigay thrombolysis, yung alteplase at tenecteplase. This one, you can extend hanggang 6 hours. There are newer studies na sinasabi nila na pwede hanggang 12 hours, 16 hours, depende sa more advanced imaging. Remember yung perfusion studies? If, yung una, di ba, the one that we saw, yung DWI, malayo na nun yung DWI flare, mismatch. Sino ba yun? Ito, yan. So, kapag ganyan, di ba, yung may mismatch of the core and the penumbra, ibig sabihin, maliit ang core, malaki penumbra, you can still give it. If you have, kahit beyond 6 hours ka for thrombectomy, the patient may still benefit from thrombectomy. Basta ganyan siya. Malaki pa rin ang penumbra mo. Maliit ang infarct core. Or sa perfusion studies. No? So yung mga studies na lumalabas, they make use of this more advanced imaging for patients who come in later, mga more than 6 hours. Tapos may mga newer studies na pag-basilar stroke sa likod, may mga evidence on more than 24 hours, no? Or 24 hours na after ictus, they can still do thrombectomy safely. Okay? Tapos we had one patient in another hospital. We did thrombectomy of the basilar artery 3 days. Lola, 3 days after her stroke. But she's okay. She's functional. Siguro ba siya? MRS2? A little assistance lang with her daily living. Kasi lola na rin siya. Pero diba, imagine if you can do that to younger patients. Saan ba tayo? Ayan, okay? Now, complication, di ba? Remember, we've discussed complications of ischemia in general. Di ba? Remember, you have disruption of your blood-brain barrier. You have two types of edema and stroke. Ano yung more common type of edema sa stroke? Cytotoxic or vasogenic? Ha? Kapag may ATP pump failure ka, what happens? Kasi yun ang nangyari dito ATP pump failure kasi ischemic. Wala kang blood flow, wala kang ATP. So mag-fail yung ATP pump mo. Ano nangyayari? Accumulation of water intracellularly, so meron kang anong klaseng edema? Cytotoxic edema. Okay? So you have cytotoxic edema. And then later on, magkakaroon ka ng disruption of your blood-brain barrier causing the vasogenic edema. Okay? So kalaban mo talaga yan. And usually, for bigger strokes, yung mga maliliit na strokes, okay lang yan. Pero you have to observe ha, hindi sila masyadong, lesser ang chance sila mag-edema. But for bigger strokes, ba yung nakita niyo kanina? Ito, yung mga yan, yan, okay lang yan. Hindi mo siya mag-edema yan. Pero babantayan niyo pa rin. Pero for big strokes, like this one, most likely yung ganyan, ang outcome lang yan ay severely disabled or patay. Okay? Mahirap habulin yung ganyan pag ganyan nag-set in na. Kasi maliban sa stroke that you're seeing, magkakaroon pa ng edema yan. And then the edema actually usually peaks around day 3 to day 5. Yan, day 3 to day 5. So pag ganyan, usually if you see patients with big stroke, inuunahan na namin yan. We already start them on hypersmolar treatment kasi you're anticipating edema. Okay? So what are the indicators of edema? Mas nagde-deteriorate yung sensorium, mas tulog, comatose, fixed ang pupils, no? Tsaka ano bang danger when you have severe edema? Mag-brain herniation kayo. And what happens when your brain herniates? You die. Okay? You die. Death. Okay? Yan. So, ipsilateral Babinski triad, changing breathing pattern. Actually, yung mga yan are Cushing's. Naalala yung Cushing, di ba? Na-discuss natin yung last time. The Cushing triad. What's the Cushing? Ano yung 3 Cushing triad? Hypertension, irregular respirations, and bradypnea, bradycardia. Okay? So, when you see those, alam mo, nag-herniate yung patients mo. And then, when you see pupils, anisocoria, nag-herniate na yung patients mo. Or if you fix dilated, hindi na gumagalaw, wala nang spontaneous breathing, completely herniated patient or brain dead patient na yan. Okay? So yun you have to recognize agad. Actually, ang point is you have to prevent. Kasi once you already see na nag-herniate na yung patients, more likely that's irreversible na. Mahirap na habulin yun. Ang posible na lang would be siguro immediate surgical intervention. But most neurosurgeons will not operate on patients like that. Kasi that's already a high table mortality. Ibig sabihin, when you do surgery on those patients, high chance na mamamatay din sila. Okay? So how do you treat brain swelling? Okay? Pag mga ganyan malalaking stroke, you can use mannitol, therapeutic, no? Medical. You can give mannitol, that's how you give it. Hypertonic saline solution, yung mga plain NSS. Pero di ba ang plain NSS na nakabote, ilang percent naman? 0.9%. Okay? Pero for hypertonic saline, we increase it to hanggang 3 hanggang 23%. So ang alat, gagawin mong daing yung pasyente mo. Kasi matutuyo sila. Ano naman sa'yo sa daing? Diba? Ang daing maalat. Tsaka tuyot. So yun yung gusto mong mangyari. Tutuyuin yung patient. Kasi you want to suck out the edema from the brain. Kasi delikado yun. And that's what mannitol does. Mannitol, nag-absorb siya, nag-suck out siya ng water from healthy tissues. Okay? Para malesen yung edema and then to give more space for the enlarging edema to start of the brain. Hypertonic saline, hypertonic lactate. Yun yung Todilac. Todilac is the brand name. And that's how you give it. Tapos, sometimes mahabol mo with just medical decompression. But at times, lalo na pag yung mga big strokes like that kanina, hindi na mahabol ng medical decompression yan. You need already surgical decompression. How do you do that? Di ba nakita kayo ng mga babies na hydrocephalic babies? Ang laki-laki ng ulo nila, di ba? Nakita na ba kayo? So yun, may mga hydrocephalic encephalus sila. Pero ba't hindi sila tulog? Ba't hindi sila comatose? Because their fontanelles are still open, yung head nila lumalaki to accommodate the enlarging brain. So, walang ipitang na nangyayari sa loob. Okay? Kasi lumalaki lang siya. Okay? Unlike sa adults where you have very rigid brain na, sarado na ang fontanelles nyo, your skull cannot grow na. So, pag lumalaki sa loob, nag-iipitan, no? So, higher pressure lalo sa loob. So, what is surgical? Ang goal ng surgical decompression is to open up the skull para to give room, no, or space for your brain to makahinga. Okay? So, yan siya. So, usually yan dito, di-decompress yan, tanggal buong bungo. Ganyan kalaki. Tapos yung bungo, pwede siyang itago for months yan, usually months, mga years na nakatanggal siya. So, we just wait for the edema to subside. So, after a few months, pwede na ibalik yung bone. Yung bone, pwede mo siya itago sa blood bank. Dati, in the olden days, tinatago siya sa tiyan, sa loob. Okay? So, ngayon, may blood bank na. Okay? Pero minsan, yung iba, nawawala yung muto nila. Ewan ko may blood bank, bone bank, sorry. Bone bank. Yun. Okay? Nagpapatago pa kami. Yung iba may ref. May special kind of ref yan. Pero yung ibang hospitals, kasi ref lang siya. Okay, yan. Yung iba nawawala yung bone. So, anong gagawin? Wala. Pag nakikita kayo ng patients, di ba, mamamaga yun eh. Mamamaga yan. Kasi yung umaalsa. Ano yung umaalsa? Ano yung umaalsa? Oh, buti alam nyo. Kasi yung mga students in Ateneo, they don't know that. They don't know umaalsa. Okay? Okay. I'm sorry, friends, baka sa ano na yan. Okay, joke lang. Buti nga, tingnan ako pag Tagalog ako eh. English eh. Okay. So yun, maalsa yung brain mo. And then, after a while, when the eating subsides, mababa na siya. So makikita mo yung skin. Kasi skin na lang yan eh. Skin, and then underneath the skin, at underneath the skin, brain na. Okay? So, ingatan yung huwag masyadong dududutin. Okay? Kasi baka mag-seizure yung pasyente mo. Okay? Or mag-bleed. So later on, nakagano'n siya. Tapos after a while, gagano'n na siya. Lulubog dito, ganyan. Wala akong patient, picture ng patient na may ano. Meron kang edema. Nakakita ka na?
Grandfather ko.
Oo, meron siya. Di ba, lubog yung dito niya. Yan. Pero there's also, nabalik na ba yung buwan, di ba?
Patay na.
Nasaan na? Nawala na yung buwan.
Patay na.
Oh, sorry. Sorry na. Okay, kasi may time na they have that, di ba? Nag-decompress sila. Tapos, after nun, nagkakaroon sila ng worsening. Headache, nag-weakness ulit, nagtutulog-tulog. You think there's another stroke na naman, or nagbe-bleed, or baka natamaan. Pero meron tinatawag kasi na Triffin syndrome, na Treffine syndrome. Because wala yung bone to, nagkakaroon siya, may pressure difference. So, ano nangyayari? Nagsusuck in to, naiipit naiibig yung brain underneath. So, ang treatment lang doon, just simply put the bone back. Okay? So, that's decompressive hand cream. Malapit na ito. Labi na. Okay, so primary prevention. So, you've already addressed the patient, nabigyan mo na lang. By the way when you do thrombolysis, it's not either or. Hindi na thrombolysis ka na, dahil wala sa thrombectomy. No. If they're candidates for thrombolysis, majority naman candidates basta within 3 hours. Pag candidates sila, with or without thrombectomy. Kasi if pasok sila sa criteria for thrombectomy, you do thrombectomy. Hindi siya either or. Okay? So, maraming patients na ganyan. Mga large vessel occlusion, malalaki yung vessels na occlude. So, you give thrombolysis agad, pero they're also candidates for thrombectomy. Once they give consent, ang ginagawa namin, usually, habang wheel-in namin sila papunta sa cath lab, binibigay na agad yung thrombectomy. Binibigay na agad yung thrombolysis para mabilis. Okay? Yun. And then, for those patients after the thrombolysis and the thrombectomy, kasi pag nag-thrombolysis ka, you cannot give the antiplatelets or anticoagulants within 24 hours because of the risk of bleeding. So after 24 hours, you then give your primary prevention for stroke. Also for patients na hindi mo nabigyan ng thrombolysis, at the start, halimbawa, kahapon pa yung stroke nila. So you can already start, pag nakita mo yung patient, if without contraindication, you can already start your primary prevention for stroke. And the classic, parang the typical treatment would be antiplatelets, di ba? Kasi nga, and that's for atherothrombotic. Kasi ang platelet-rich ang mga atheroma. Okay, yung mga plaque, di ba? When you look at the pathology, it's more of plaque formation ay platelet-rich. So, yun yung mga ibibigay mo, antiplatelets. Okay? mamaya yun. Yan yung antiplatelet. So what can you give? Aspirin. Aspirin pa rin ang well-studied. Madali na kasi siya. So it's an old drug, but still very, very effective. Okay? So yan pa rin ang first line of treatment. Although there are patients who cannot tolerate aspirin, may allergy sa aspirin, elderly, may kidney injury, ano pa ba? Nag-pharma na ba kayo? Yung pharma, na-discuss nyo ba doon yung P-drug? Di ba may P-drug? Wala na yun, time na na. May P-drug. Halimbawa, yung preferred drug. Diba? May maganan, diba? So maraming, bawa, antiplatelets. Right? Lots of antiplatelets. But what is your P-drug? Okay? The P-drug, hindi ibig sabihin na pwede itong drug na to, yun na yun. So pag sabi yung P-drug, yun yung effective for this kind of patient, tolerated by this patient. Ano pa? Yung side effects of the side effects ng drug, okay sa patient, affordable for the patient, and you're confident in prescribing that. So that's your P-drug. Okay? So yung mga yan, list of drugs, pero depende pa rin. You have to fit it in your patient. Hindi siya one drug. Ayan, one size fits all. So one size fits none. Diba? Sino nagsabi nun? May nagsabi nun, recently lang, hindi kayo nanonood. Nanonood pa kayo ng Sona? No. May nagsabi nun, hindi ko alam, hindi ko rin alam. Pero may nagsabi nun. Anyway, so, pag nakikita niya lang, no, lalo na for certain cases, other medications, nakikita niya na parang laging ito yung pinaprescribe ng mga neuro or laging ito yung pinaprescribe ng mga doctors. Not because automatic yun na, but because through time, it's more effective. May mga favorites talaga. So iba-ibang doctors, makikita niyo may mga favorites yan. Mas okay sila dito, lesser ang complications, mas tolerated by patients, mas lesser ang drug-drug interaction. Yun yung titignan niyo okay? Tsaka yung comorbids of your patient. Very important. Kasi yung mga stroke patients, marami dyan elderly, hypertensive, diabetic, matatanda, may kidney problem, nag-heart attack na before, may cancer pa, no? So yung mga ganun, you have to take into account all those comorbidities kasi depende. Okay? So yan, take note of the mechanism of action. So yan yung mga aspirin, clopidogrel, ano pa ba, mga ticagrelor, yung mga bago-bago lang yun, si silostazole, no? Ang bagong evidence ngayon, si silostazole, good for mga small vessel disease, for mga lacunar infarcts. Kasi dual mechanism ang silostazole. It can inhibit your platelet, and two, meron siyang vasodilating property. So, mas gaganda yung cerebral blood flow. And safety profile, better ang bleeding profile compared to aspirin. Okay, so yung mga usual side effects, ba't hindi na-tolerate ang aspirin? Either one, allergic to aspirin, or mga kidney problems, diba? Kasi COX-2 inhibitor yan eh. COX inhibitor, or mga dito ulcers, nag-bleed. Ayan nila yun. Okay? So, dual antiplatelet, it depends. No? Meron kasing trial, no? Yung chance trial, where it looks at the stroke risk over time of patients who are given single antiplatelet, meaning aspirin lang, or dual antiplatelet, aspirin and clopidogrel, for 3 weeks. Nakita nila for mga high-risk TIA at mga low NIHSS na stroke, mga 1 to 2 lang, hanggang 3, mas maganda kung i-dual antiplatelet mo sila for 3 weeks. Beyond 3 weeks, higher na ang bleeding complication. Okay? So, indication for antiplatelets in general, atherothrombotic. Okay? Kasi, if you have cardioembolic, hindi mga artery-to-artery embolism. Pag cardioembolic na AF, may documentation kayo, when you do your ECG, the patient has atrial fibrillation. Tapos, nag-stroke. So actually, may computer, Chad's Vascsor, 2 points agad siya, may stroke na eh. Lalo na pag na-stroke na in the future. Okay? So, automatic yun. You already start the patient on anticoagulation. But take note, kapag pag itong antiplatelets, immediately yan you give your patients. Pero for anticoagulation, in patients with AF na may stroke, hindi agad-agad nagsa-start. Okay? Kasi nga, di ba, mabilis magdugo. You usually wait. May guideline dyan eh. More or less, rough guideline on when you can safely start anticoagulation. Okay? So for all stroke patients, you give as long as they're tolerated, high-dose steroids. Parang ano din, nag-cardio na kayo, no? Same treatment for MI. You give, di ba, you thrombolysis, you do thrombectomy as well. Tapos you also give antiplatelets, high-dose pa nga sila. Actually, nakakatakot sila mag-load, yung mga ECS loading dose nila. 4 tablets aspirin. Ganun sila mag-load din. 4 tablets aspirin, 4 tablets clopidogrel. Meron ka pa anticoagulant, either heparin or enoxaparin. Nakakatakot. Kinakabahan kami. Kasi ang bilis mag-bleed ng brain sa ganun. Kaya ang laking dilemma for us when there are patients who are suffering from acute myocardial infarction, tapos may nag-stroke din. Natatakot saan laki ng stroke. Kasi marami yun because of the failure. Nagkakaroon ka ng mga regional wall motion problems kapag nag-i-infarct ka. Sorry, like heart attack. Pwede ka magkaroon ng AF, diba? Tapos nagkaroon sila. Nagsustroke. And that's a big dilemma. Okay? Hindi mo alam kung anong unahin mo. Ang utak o ang puso. So anong unahin niyo? Pero okay naman kami. Madali naman kaming pakiusapan. So madalas inuuna pa rin ang puso. Kasi may opera naman daw. Pag nagdugo ang brain, pwedeng operahan. Pero pag nag-infarct ang heart, patay agad. Okay? So kaya yun. Ayun pala ha. Pag ano kayo, tip lang, clinical. Pag may patients kayo, na okay, ganyan, sa deteriorate, ganyan, biglang namatay. Tapos hindi nyo alam kung anong cause. Kadalasan yung cardiac. Huwag nyo sisisihin ng brain. Kasi ang brain, matagal pa yan. Minsan nga 2 weeks, 1 buwan bago pa mamatay yung mga yan eh. Yan. Wala na. Pang ano lang yan. Para alam nyo. Maintindihan nyo pag nag-clinics na kayo. Sometimes you don't know kung anong cause eh. You sign up for the case. Nag-aaway-aaway mga doktor. No, it's the stroke. No, it's the ano. Ganyan. No, it's the pulmonary embolism. Okay, basta pag cardiac, ang point lang doon ay, ang cardiac, mabilis. Mabilis ang mortality sa cardiac. Unlike stroke, nakita niyo naman ang stroke, ang dami pinagdadaan ng process. May herniate, magsuswell pa yan. Bago mag-vascular edema, mag-herniate pa yan. Pag brain dead, ang dami-daming brain dead na pasyente, tumatagal pa ng linggo eh. Okay? Kasi nga, di ba, naalala niyo ang heart may inherent siya na pacemaker. Okay? So high-dose steroids, remember, we look at the LDL and target 70 and below. And that is according to the study of Sparkle trial. Yan yung landmark trial for high-dose statins for stroke. Usually, we give atorvastatin. Yun kasi ang may study. So, minsan pag nakita nyo the patients, mga stroke, atorvastatin ang kanilang gamot. Sometimes we also, pag naka-baseline, naka-rosuvastatin yung patient, we ask the cardio to if we can shift to atorvastatin. Okay? Kasi yun may study. Yan. So, remember ito, yung valvular AF, yung mga RHD, warfarin pa din ang ano. For the non-valvular AF, yan yung mga newer anticoagulants. Okay? So mga direct oral anticoagulants or mga DOACs. Kasi ang problem with warfarin is, 1, you have to monitor regularly. Kasi pag lumagpas ka sa INR, 2 to 2.5 is good. 2 to 2.5. 3, lumagpas ka ng 3, massive hemorrhage. Okay? Hindi mo na mahabol yun. Sobrang duduguin yung patient mo and that's actually fatal. Kailangan regular monitoring of INR. Maka-miss ka ng 1 linggo, next week patay na yung pasyente. Okay? And I'm speaking from, may recent patient kami gano'n. Okay? Na-miss lang 1 week, hindi na-check ang INR. Dumating sa ER, dugo everywhere, patay. Okay? Yun ang difficult sa warfarin. Unlike the newer anticoagulants, no? Kaya when you see patients, the non-valvular, we really like to start them already on DOACs, mga direct oral anticoagulants. Kasi ang warfarin, saan ba ang warfarin? It's a vitamin K inhibitor. Diba? So ang tawag dito, ang reversal agent mo for warfarin, pag dinudugo ka, mataas ang INR, you give vitamin K. Kasi nga in-inhibit ka naman si vitamin K. For the others, no, direct siya mismo doon sa iyong coagulation cascade. Okay? So yung direct na factor 10 ang in-inhibit niya. Okay? So hindi siya yung pasikot-sikot. Okay? For these drugs, yan, factor 10A inhibitors, apixaban, dabigatran, rivaroxaban, edoxaban, bago-bago yun. Okay? So yung you don't need to monitor INR. Okay? Meron lang mga special things na you have to adjust if may creatinine clearance is low, may mga CKD, the weight, may mga dose adjustments lang. But in general, they did a study kasi on DOACs versus warfarin, and they saw na these DOACs are actually not inferior, no? It's a non-inferiority study. Kasi pag may new drug ka, and you want to prove the efficacy, you want to parang i-head-to-head study mo siya with an existing proven drug. Okay? So that's how new drugs are approved. Okay? So pag ganon, so you don't have to prove that this drug is superior to the existing good drug. You just have to prove that it's not inferior. Okay? So they did non-inferiority studies for these drugs. And they saw na not inferior siya. And then when they looked at the safety profile, mas maganda. Okay? Lesser ang bleeding compared with warfarin. Ako, takot ako sa warfarin Personally, takot ako sa warfarin kasi nga, ang hirap niya, ang dami ko patients, lalo na stroke ang bilis kasi mag-bleed talaga ng stroke. So, majority of the time, yung mga patients namin na warfarin, nag-bleed talaga sila, either maliit or malaki. Okay? So, if you can start them on mga DOACs, you start them on DOACs. Okay, ito yung pinag-usapan natin, di ba may extracranial stenosis, barado sa may dito sa leeg, mga more proximal versus sa loob, intracranial. Pag extracranial, kikita mo ganyan, no? Yung may arrow, stenosis yan. Kita mo, the parang thin line doon, that's your stenosis or occluded. So kaya kami so pag nag-work up ka for stroke, you look for the risk factors that you have to address. Kaya sorry, nilagpasan kayo sa primary prevention. You identify the risk factors kasi those are the things that you have to address. On top of starting antiplatelets or anticoagulants, you have to identify the risk factors. Diabetic yung patient mo, control the blood sugar. Hypertensive yung diabetic patient mo, control the BP. Dyslipidemic, control the cholesterol. Okay? Ano pa? Butas ang puso ng patient mo, mahalin mo. Takpan mo, you have to close it. Okay? Ano pa ba? You have barado na carotid dito na significant. What's significant na Usually mga more than 70 to 80% occluded. And that's a time that you hear, ano yung naririnig nyo dito. That's why we check, di ba? Ano yung pinapakinggan nyo dito? The carotid bruits. Diba? So if you hear carotid bruits, more or less there is symptomatic significant occlusion of the carotid. Okay, so we also do, so you look for that. May AF ba yung patient mo? Kasi you have to look for the risk factors, diba? You do ECG. Sometimes you also do Holter monitoring. Lalo na if nakita mo sa MRI, yung pattern of stroke looks more like an embolic stroke. Basta hanapin mo sa nanggaling yung stroke mo and you have to control all of those things. Ito, we also do carotid duplex studies. You do ultrasound of the carotids to screen if may stenosis. Okay? So pag more than 80%, usually we would require, lalo na kung symptomatic, ibig sabihin, you have occlusion or stenosis on the left. Tapos when you do your MRI, may evidence of old strokes on the left. Or nagka-stroke siya ngayon on the left. Okay, so pag ganon, you know it's a symptomatic stenosis. Dapat i-treat mo yan. So how do you treat? Pwedeng endarterectomy or stenting. Stenting, minimal, mas less invasive and better for elderly patients na hindi na pwedeng subject into more invasive na operation. Course and prognosis, yan, depende talaga. Depende pa rin sa initial presentation, how big the stroke is, if you're able to give the rescue therapy, no, yung thrombolysis or thrombectomy, syempre, if you're able to give those two, better ang outcome. Okay, and later on yung patients na kasi syempre sila ay paralyzed, intubated, yung iba, lalo na pag big strokes. Later on in the course of the hospitalization, patients can develop infection. So yung mga yun, no, you have to address those things. Infection from the tube, mga bed sore, sa puwet, okay? Mga dependent sores, pressure ulcers, kasi nakahiga lang sila. You have to do strict na turning, bedside turning. Ano pa? They're immobile, diba? They're paralyzed, also prone to developing mga deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism. Kaya if you can give mga DVT prophylaxis, you give them, no? Therapy, okay? So multiple electrolyte imbalances, sa feeding, aspiration, no? Yun. Yung mga complications of stroke. Usually kasi namamatay sila because of mga ganon. Infection, okay? Yan. And then again, no, yung MRS. Okay, so take note lang ito, yung mga deficits. So according to studies, the maximum recovery ng patient ay usually around 3 months. Okay, and it still continues around a year. Lagpas a year, if you have those deficits, more or less than permanent already. Okay? Ay, lapit na. Complications of stroke. So, years after, months after, dahil pwede ka magkaroon ng post-stroke depression, no? Kaya in the clinic, when you see your patients on follow-up, you screen for those things. Complications such as depression, seizures, lalo na yung mga cortical strokes, mga cardiopolic strokes, madalas mag-seizure din yung mga yan. Diba? Thalamic pain syndrome, kasi you address them, yung symptomatic treatment. Ano pa? Dementia. Meron mga tinatawag na vascular dementia, no? After stroke, mga lalo na pag subsequent strokes yun, paulit-ulit, or may tinatawag na strategic infarcts. Pag na-stroke yung certain parts of the brain, they are at higher risk of developing dementia. Okay? Ano pa? Depression, more or less, yeah. So you have to screen for those things. Okay? So, ito yung sabi last time. We'll learn neurology, stroke by stroke, the anatomy, di ba? Kasi with occlusion, vascular territory,